This is update for December 26, 2023, day 671 of the war, and of the date update. Also catch up for December 25 and December 24. So first, I'm gonna provide general update on what's going on in Ukraine, and then I'm just gonna walk through the front line. First, the draft of new mobilization law was introduced in Ukraine parliament, which created shock in Ukrainian society because majority of society was hoping to sort of to isolate themselves from the war, and was relying on the volunteers or people who wanted to go and fight on their own. That those people sort of the Ukraine basically they were expanded at this point. I mentioned about this many times before. That was the most valuable resource Ukraine had. Definitely, Ukraine still has obviously capable people, motivated people, but it's definitely not anything close to what it used to be, let's say, in 2022. So again, this created quite a bit of a shock. As a result, Ukrainian president started pointing finger at the head of Ukrainian military, and then the head of Ukrainian military even gave a press conference where he basically pointed finger back at Ukrainian government and effectively Ukrainian president. So this is a typical saying that victory has many parents and loss is always an orphan. So this is the case in this situation. Basically, it's turning into finger pointing because nobody wants to be responsible for this. The most important actually difference is that for the first time, the head of Ukrainian army was responding in assertive way to Ukrainian president. So first of all, he clearly indicated that that was not his request to mobilize so many people, and again, all he stated, I just need resources. Again, I would say it's just deflection of responsibility as well, and it's true basically, as I said before, it's just both sides don't want to take unpopular decisions and hold responsibility for unpopular decisions. So basically, this is just this infighting between Ukrainian president and head of Ukrainian army is moving to the sort of higher level. It's becoming more apparent because before it was initiated by Ukrainian president, who was essentially attacking head of Ukrainian military. Now he's sort of a little bit showing that sort of responding in, I would say, very proper way, in very respectful way, trying to point that, okay, it's not his sort of problem, it's really Ukrainian president's. To extent it is fair because in the Ukrainian constitution, the Ukrainian president is responsible, is the head of the military technically, and responsible for everything, whatever happens military-wise. So all of the power is vested in his hands, and so he does share responsibility for that. I would say, taking aside this confrontation between two sides, which I believe will only will grow more intense eventually as things will start to unfold on the front line. The bigger problem is actually strategic. Even let's say Ukraine military gets this 450,000 people. Let's say in not even a year, probably let's say by the end of next summer, early fall, it will be back to the basics. And It's not gonna resolve anything. It's not gonna solve any problem, and Russia will continue obviously their own mobilization. Russia is very clear indicating they're not backing out. They continuing it. They like a shark smelling blood. They understanding that the prey is almost ready to be consumed, and so they will not back out by any means. And as I said before, Russia really wants all of the Ukraine. So going back to this, the problem is there is no strategy, and that's where it all starts and where it all ends. There is no clear understanding how to change from quantitative approach to qualitative approach by Ukrainian military and also by Ukrainian political top. And that's why I said that the both sides are equally incompetent and not capable to lead Ukraine to victory. And victory I define as keeping Ukrainian territorial integrity. That's really the only definition of victory, and really what Ukraine is seeking in this conflict. Again, as I said, this is bringing that 1917 moment even closer. I will be providing updates of how things unfold, and I think the internal situation in Ukraine will become ever more important with every passing day, every passing month, where eventually it will take over situation on the front line. Now I'm going to switch to actually front line, and I'm going to do walkthrough in a clockwise fashion, as I always do, starting from very north. Situation along the state border remains fairly stable. No special, nothing important developing there. Now let's move to North Lugansk front line. Things here remain more or less the same. Russian forces continuing their pressure from northeast towards Kupiansk. It's kind of like cut off on this map, but effectively the situation there for now is under control. Ukrainian forces are holding on. Now let's move to the North Donbass front line. Things here, again, the same pattern. Northern sector is fairly quiet. There is fairly weak Russian pressure in the southern west and to the south of Bakhmut, typical areas here. However, pressure is clearly subsiding. And I would say the pressure is subsiding across the entire front line, and I think that's more related towards the New Year celebration that's coming up, and basically just everybody sort of call it taking a break or slowing down activity essentially. Again, no major advances by Russian forces here. As I mentioned before, there were some advances around Kromor in the past. Now let's move to the central Donbass front line. Things here again the same. Russian pressure around Avdiivka, again also subsided somewhat. It's not it's not at low level anyways, but it's definitely not as intense as it used to be. Again, no new advances here, or no new cracks in the in defenses of Ukrainian forces so far. Then the pressure around Novomykhailivka continues. Russian troops continuing their attacks. So far, this advance has stalled as well, and nothing new here is happening. Now let's move to the Zaporizhya front line. Things here are fairly quiet. Some pretty weak Russian attacks around Robotyne without much success. Now let's move to the situation along the Dnipro River. Things here also remain more or less the same. Ukrainian bridgehead stays there. Essentially, Russian, as I said before, Russian side cannot destroy it, and Ukrainian side, for whatever reason, not willing to expand it. So this is the status quo remains. How long, I have no idea, but that's the situation for now. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye-bye.